Are you a fan of Game of Thrones? Well, The Witcher on Netflix is filled with dragons and beasts and sorcery and sword fights. But is it going to satisfy that Game of Thrones itch? Henry Cavill stars as Geralt of Rivia, and he is a mutant, blessed or cursed, depending on how you look at it, with an abnormally long life. And he is a monster hunter, but he's also kind of a mercenary. And in this series, he spends a large portion of his time grunting. The overall story is that there is a battle between kingdoms, encroaching kingdoms trying to take over other ones, and just that political play of power. Well, in an effort to save a princess from the invading forces, she is sent off to find Geralt. He's sworn to protect her, but his character is that reluctant type hero, and so he just spends much of the series kind of roaming around, killing monsters for coin, and, well, slaying whatever beasts he needs to, whether they be human or otherworldly, well, I guess earthly, however you want to call it. I don't know. They're monsters, whatever. One thing to know about The Witcher is that there are multiple timelines going on simultaneously. I think that's kind of a big negative of the story, at least in the way it was presented, because it took me until the 4th episode to actually figure out that there were multiple timelines going on. And the more frustrating part at that point was it didn't look like they were going to converge anytime soon. There weren't any visual clues or even hints story-wise that one of the storylines is happening in the past and the other is happening in the present. When I was watching it, I just thought they were both in the present and that those two timelines hadn't met each other because, you have characters on this path, characters on this path. Never mind the fact that they're in totally different times also. I'm glad that we get sword fights in this, that there are monsters and beasts to be slayed. I think that was a great part of the series. I really enjoyed that. And the sword battles themselves, oh my gosh, that swordcraft that they do is phenomenal. It is really cool. It looks very convincing and it's hardcore. And I felt myself really rooting for whoever was fighting in those sword battles because it was just a lot of fun to watch. And it was seriously bloody too. Some of those death scenes are gory. And I didn't mind it because I knew that's what I was going in for. Had I not known about that, I probably would have been like, oh, wait, what? But no. I get some good throat slashes and some other things that are just like, ooh, that's painful. I think the graphics in this are pretty good, and the monsters are pretty cool. There was one that was a little odd, but he wasn't on, I don't know. It wasn't on the screen for very long, so I didn't get a lot of time to just stare at it and pick it apart. But there's one in the opening scene that's just kind of gross, and the action's happening fast, and it's up close sometimes. But it looked good to me. It was convincing, and I had a blast with a lot of the monsters that were on there. In addition to Cavill's character Geralt, there's another main character, sort of, and her name is Yennefer. She is a mage, and she took a little while to grow on me. I didn't really like her at the beginning, and it had nothing to do with her appearance or anything like that. I wasn't drawn into the character. I wasn't sucked in, except for her eyes. Oh my gosh, and that is one cool thing about this entire series, that they use some intense colors on some of the characters' eyes. Geralt's eyes, this deep yellow that just brightens sometimes. Maybe it has a little bit of orange hue to it as well. Yennefer's are purple. And I mean, they are just a deep, deep purple. And it is just, it literally sucks you in and you just go. Even though I didn't start out liking Yennefer, the character did grow on me and I ended up rooting for her, especially because you get to see where her life choices take her and how those define her and then what she does with it once she's there. For somebody like me who is totally unfamiliar with the source material, I found that some things went unanswered or were just kind of left hanging. And then you also have just Geralt, who spends a lot of the time going, But for me, there was just some of it that I was just like, wait, I don't understand what's going on. Then there were a couple of characters, and one in particular, Yeskir, he's a bard who is traveling around with Geralt, and really just, he's the one spreading the word of who Geralt is and telling his tale. Well, at one point, this discussion happens, and he's gone. Just done, poof. I thought, well, maybe he's going to come back because the discussion that happened didn't really warrant him not returning, but he didn't. And so I'm like, okay, negative for me right there. Because I kind of liked the character, not at the beginning. Actually, I think most of the characters in this I didn't like at the beginning, and they took a little bit of time to grow on me. Now, like in Game of Thrones, there is political scheming and just the maneuvering to get what you want and to use other people as your pawns or whatever to accomplish your end goal. There is some of that in this. However, it is compressed and it's not nearly as interesting. And I feel that maybe they were just trying to push too much in or trying to just tell too much of a story for then I don't know where season 2 is going to go. The political aspect and the scheming of it does have potential, and I did like where some of it was going, although right now, as the series ended, or the season rather ended, I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. I mean, some of the things have been accomplished, others, well, where are they? I don't know. I'm at least mildly intrigued for what season 2 could bring. The battles in this are the reason to watch, especially if you like bloody hand-to-hand combat. And I also know that the story, because it's hard to follow, especially at the beginning, could turn a lot of people off or even be a huge hindrance to getting into it. And I know that waiting 4 episodes at least to figure that out or to kind of get invested, that's asking a lot of an audience to buy in. So that may not be for you, and that may be the breaking point right there. If you do choose to watch it though, it is kind of enjoyable. I mean, I got some fun out of it. I got to see some great battles, some decent graphics, and a fairly compelling political story, at least as the kingdoms are warring and what's going on, even though I don't totally know all of the motivations, and I certainly can't remember all of the players. There is a ton of sex, nudity, profanity, and violence. I give season 1 of The Witcher 3 out of 5 couches. So are you a fan of the video games or the books or even the movies that I don't think were widely released? Let me know in the comments below what you thought of those or what you think is your favorite or where you think the season should go next time. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.